did a video last week explaining how statins can increase hard plaque in the arteries by 12 to 14% per year. This is the study, and it was done in 2015. Statins increase hard plaque in the arteries for two reasons. Statins increase insulin resistance, and statins also block vitamin K2 production. As the medical system and big pharma became aware of this undeniable issue around 2015, that statins increase hard plaque, they started a campaign to make hard plaque great again. And I see from the YouTube comments, look at this comment from Dr. Matthew Opalek, for example, who seems to be a well-meaning doctor, which I appreciate. Statins help calcify plaque, which makes it more stable and less likely to rupture. This is an exact representation of a new but widely held narrative. So I want to address this idea that hard plaque is good because it's false, pure and simple. Let's look at the Keystone study from 2016, just when the information came out that statins increase hard plaque in the arteries in 2015. So 2016, coronary artery calcification, report from the multi-ethnic study of atherosclerosis with 6,814 people that had no medical history of clinical cardiovascular disease. Let's just go directly to the summary graph, which is panel A. The rates for major coronary events, including myocardial infarction, heart attack, and death from heart disease. What you can clearly see here is when you start the study with 0 CAC score. CAC is a quick and easy way of measuring hard plaque. When you are a 0, it is extremely rare that people have major heart events, almost 0 among the hundreds or thousands of people here. Next, when people have a CAC score between 1 and 100, the risk definitely goes up, especially after year 3 or 4, probably because their CAC had risen quite a bit during that 5-year period. The bottom line is showing the years from this study, the time points. But between 101 and 300 on a CAC scan is higher risk still, even within 3 years. Those little steps up are heart attacks, deaths, things like that. And when CAC is over 300, it's the highest risk of a major heart event. Hard plaque is not good. Growing hard plaque is not good. There is zero evidence for this nonsensical claim. The evidence points exactly opposite, especially if you look at studies that are, number one, not funded by big pharma. Number two, studies that look at absolute risk rather than relative risk. And number three, studies that look at actual heart attacks or death. Anyway, here is a summary of the increased risk by the numbers. 0 detectable hard plaque is the baseline, which again is super low risk. 1 to 100 has about 3.6-fold higher risk of major heart events. 101 to 300 is 7.7-fold higher risk. Over 300 on a CAC score is about 9.7-fold higher risk, and over 1,000 is 10 to 12-fold higher risk. The major point here is CAC and hard plaque is extremely dose dependent, meaning the more hard plaque you have, the worse your heart disease outcome risk is. A 10-fold higher risk of heart disease or death from cardiovascular disease is not good plaque. That's why the New England Journal of Medicine says coronary calcium score is a strong predictor of incident coronary heart disease, which is the same conclusion as the study where I showed you those graphs earlier. This story about hard plaque substantially and dose-dependently increasing heart disease deaths is the opposite of cholesterol, because more cholesterol actually leads to less disease. I know you've heard the opposite regarding hard plaque and you've heard the opposite regarding cholesterol, but look at the studies that aren't funded by big pharma. You'll see that the higher your cholesterol, the less heart disease you have and the longer you'll live. I'll read you the key paragraph from this review study about the LDL paradox. Higher LDL cholesterol is associated with greater longevity, in case you don't believe me. I'm very aware of the heavy propaganda from Big Pharma on this topic. I studied heart disease for 5 years full time. This study says we identified 19 follow-up studies, including 20 cohorts of more than 6 million patients. In 8 of them, those with the highest LDL lived as long as those with normal LDL. In 9 of the 19 studies, they lived longer. Okay, so that's lifespan. If anything, higher LDL cholesterol makes you live longer, or at worst, the same lifespan as everyone else. Next, cardiovascular mortality, heart disease deaths, was increased in 9 cohorts. In 2 of them, it was inversely associated with LDL. In 5 of them, it was not associated. Let me repeat that part in plain English. In 2 studies, heart disease was lower when LDL was higher, and heart disease was higher in people that had lower LDL cholesterol. I hope you caught that. And in the other 5 studies, there was not a connection. Also, in the tiny, tiny minority, in two cohorts, low LDL was associated with total mortality. However, in the largest of them, the mortality difference between those with the highest LDL and those with normal LDL was only 0.04%. Not something to obsess over, this LDL issue in general. And arguably, LDL is something you want to keep intentionally elevated as you age, at least if you're raising your LDL by eating a low-carb diet, which is an important distinction because smoking and binge drinking and poor sleep raise LDL, so you don't want to go about it the wrong way. Anyway, I'll repeat here the conclusion from the CAC hard plaque study. CAC is the strongest predictor of incident coronary events, the strongest. That's plain and simple and true to this day. We've known this since 2008, well before the statin companies initiated their propaganda campaign to convince people hard plaque is good and soft plaque is dangerous.
You can have a calcium score of 0 and have lots of soft plaque. And these soft plaques are usually the ones that cause heart attack. Life, not having heart attacks or strokes, and just put them on a statin. So for me personally, I don't find that much utility in the calcium score.
And they only get away with this messaging because soft plaque measurements, CCTA scans, are incredibly inconsistent and incredibly unreliable. But watch my previous video to learn more about that. Thanks for watching this one. Hit the like and drop a comment. Your doctor gives you 12 minutes and never utilizes your DNA. Using AI to upload your 23andMe file, it gives you association studies and tells you red meat is bad, or it says whatever you want to hear. I put my name on my recommendations. I tell you what actually matters for your health. Book a DNA consult with me at ajconsultingcompany.com. I've done over 4,000 consults. I will save you money on useless supplements, clarify your genetic risks, discuss your health history, and I'll tell you specifically what to do about your heart disease risks, your mental health risks, your cancer risks, your methylation, your sleep, your thyroid, your metabolic weaknesses, with meaningful action plans. Book your DNA consult at ajconsultingcompany.com, link in the description.